welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Elton Henry. And today, I'd like to talk to you of another television show that is severely underrated. You got to check it out. And I've seen it once, but I remember it so well enough. Maybe small little details about it. I know I should probably rewatch it, but I just haven't had the time as much. But I still remember it because I thought it was that good. I thought it was that good to share with you guys that you need to check this series out, especially if you're an anime fan or if you're looking for something kind of thrilling. It does provide a good thrill to you, and this is Tokyo Sinks 2020. It's a short anime series that I believe is severely underrated. It's based on a novel from 1973, and it centers around. Wow, it took 9 years for this guy to complete it. Wow. So this is an adaptation of the book that came out back in 1973, but this story centers around a 14-year-old who, shortly after the Olympics, she runs track. She and her family experiences a huge earthquake that takes place on Japan, which pretty much leaves the whole damn island devastated and close to eradication. So she reunites with her family, her parents, and try to get off the island because there's been reports that the island is basically going to sink. And I'm telling you right now, man, this anime was so intense and crazy. When things happen, dude, it's not pretty at all. So when it happens, it's actually very scary. And I love that fact of when the action takes place, it's completely terrifying, but when it hits you, it hits you and it becomes like this in this big panic mode. And it's rare for, at least for me, from what I've seen, where it enters like a fast-paced kind of panic mode. You normally would feel entertained by it, but not the fear of what the characters are feeling. This is actually very impressive for animation to really do that. Especially if it's something that hopefully nobody, not any of us, have to experience this. The earthquake or some sort of just big, just crazy thing like this that happens here, because it's very terrifying. And I'm gonna go out and say it. I think this is probably one of my favorite disaster pieces that I've ever seen because of the shock value that this anime has been able to deliver, and it has left an impression on me since I've seen this. And man, because they do a good job having you connect with each of the characters, the mom, the two siblings who are pretty much the big centerpiece of this story. And you see how they become so, I guess, overwhelmed by this tragedy, of course, and the horrors that they have to see to deal with this, because it is quite shocking. And when things do happen, like I said, they do happen unexpectedly, and it's very horrific. And this is kind of a spoiler, and I won't go too in detail into how it happens, because the way they build up suspense to what happens to these characters, where they give you something like a little details, like that something is not right, and they give and the details slowly start to unravel. There's one particular scene where the characters have to go through a like a little field, not necessarily like a field, but like a gate, and they were digging this hole to find some sort of resource that they could use. But prior to looking into it, one of them start to inspect the area and kind of figure out like they are basically at the wrong place at the wrong time. They find out that they're actually in a landmine. So when the reveal slowly kind of just starts to get more and more and more and more and more, and then it kind of pans into a character who unfortunately does meet their demise, and it's very heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking and it's shocking. So when some of these characters do go, and I'm not going to explain which characters go in order, it leaves an impact, and it's very unexpected. In such a way that it's you feel each character that goes, man. It's very sad actually. It like I really felt the sadness to when some of these characters do eventually meet their end, and it's very it's very heartbreaking, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like it got me under my skin where some of these characters did go, and the way that they went is just. I love that they don't shy away. When characters go, it's effed up, and some of them, it's just very commendable of how they were able to execute this. There's one little, I guess, plot element where I wasn't really a true fan of, but I was interested where it goes. But it still ends in a very unexpected way. Just this part of the story where I do remember the family characters. They do encounter this cult per se, and things do end in a way where it's like, wow. But I thought it was kind of distracting, just in the story. But it was nice to see where that part went, and the characters kind of move on. It's like it's kind of like maybe like Day After Tomorrow in 2012, like Roman Emmerich's disaster movies were. But those films have some sort of like fun vibe to it. Maybe for the exception of Day After Tomorrow. I know 2012 had more of a fun vibe to it. But this here, there's nothing to be fun about it. When tragedy happens, and this is what I explained in one of my earlier reviews, where I appreciate action sequences that invokes intensity and fear. Because if the characters feel that, then shouldn't we feel that? I can understand confidence plays in the key with these characters, but these characters are scared for their lives, and I really appreciate it where you focus more on the fear aspect of an action sequence than, I don't know, characters just having fun. There's no really, it doesn't feel like the action has any consequences whatsoever. To me, it gets a little boring when action films are from that stance, just in a point of view, makes it more fun. I'm not saying movies or anything like that or shouldn't be fun, even for that genre, but for me, it's more effective where there's more terror invoked into a action setting because the characters are feeling terror, their lives are at stake. So I think it's better to feel more fear from the characters because you're hoping they don't meet their end. I was just thinking back of another film, like for those who've seen Eagle Eye, Shia LaBeouf movie. There's a scene where I know this is off topic, but there's a scene where Billy Bob Thornton commits sacrifice. There's a structure to that. I didn't feel like, there was kind of a structure to this, but the way that Eagle Eye with that character just felt very, it felt very just manufactured, and doesn't feel like any consequence to that character's demise whatsoever. It was a noble sacrifice, but it was more. I get it. The vibe was heroic, but I didn't sense a fear sense to that. Compared to here, when a character does do something heroic, there is a sense of fear that is invoked in the scene, and when it happens, it's noble, but you are still scared of it happening. And I love that this series did that. It does end on a happier, somewhat note, despite this is a tragic anime. And I love some of the deep dive that they went into, the possibility of Japan sinking. And it is nerve-wracking. It's like each episode something happens to the characters, and it's like, man, who is going to survive next? And I love that you don't know who's really gonna make it out alive. You don't know. It gets like the hope seems to be more dimmer, and like this series I think got slept on. It's hella underrated. For those who have Netflix, go check it out. Japan Sinks. Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated Netflix anime series.